Hello, hi, it's me. Today I want to voice my opinion about something that's currently happening. So, I'm South African and currently in South Africa. And recently there's a viral video going around social media where it's a grandmother and her grandson, and her grandson attacks his grandmother, and for whatever reason, we don't really know how it starts. There's just somebody's taking a video. The person who takes a video doesn't really say anything, but they're taking a video of this altercation going on, right? And on social media, everybody's going ballistic about how this young man is so vile. He's a demon. He needs to be in jail and everything. And scriptures are being quoted left, right, and center. Honor your mother and the father. All of these things. And this is my view on it. One, I don't condone any physical violence against anyone. Right? And number two, I'm not trying to justify this young man's actions in any way. However, I would like to be a differing voice from the groupthink that is currently happening. Number one, we don't have the full story. We don't actually know what is the history of that family. Number two, just like how God says that honor your mother and father, he also says that parents do not provoke your children to wrath, to anger, right? So my thing is, there's no child in his sane mind that would ever attack an elder unless there are pre-existing issues and conditions that people don't want to acknowledge or people don't even want to factor. All they are doing is being moved emotionally by this scene that happens. And again, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying what he did was okay. But I'm saying that let's look into certain behaviors of people and let's investigate and let's have compassion and try to understand what would trigger a young child to attack his grandmother. What is the history? We don't know what the dynamic is, and let's stop being sensitive and let's stop being ignorant, and let's stop pretending as though parents are the most perfect people around and that we don't suffer abuse behind closed doors, emotionally, physically, psychologically, mentally, financially for some. Let's not forget that some of our parents and some of our elders are the biggest abusers and narcissists in our lives. They're the biggest liars, and they're so quick to play victim. Why is it that people are so taken in by a scene and they're not able to apply some critical thinking and introspective thinking and think to themselves that, okay, this is looking the way it's looking, but like in any case in history, there are always two sides to a story. There are always two sides to a story. I do not believe that this young man would just out of the blue attack his grandmother. I do not believe that. Nor do I also condone that whatever happened, if it did happen with his grandmother, but I do believe that there are definitely underlying issues. Or maybe he has mental health issues, but there's a bigger reason, there's a bigger perspective here that people are missing. And people are so quick to demonize and vilify somebody who could just be hurting, because none of us are perfect. Nobody can stand here and say, I would never do that. Never say never unless you are put in that predicament. We don't know this young man's shoes. None of us have lived in them. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. We don't know his life. All we're seeing is a couple of minute video where we are seeing him do whatever he's doing, but there's no context to what he's doing. So I'm sorry, but I refuse to jump onto groupthink and sheeple thinking and want to demonize and vilify a person whose story I don't even know. If his story were to be brought and I would understand both perspectives, maybe then I feel like I'd be in a better place to have an opinion either way, you know? But because we don't know anything except what we're being shown, it's like social media. You can't just trust what you see. You can't just believe what you're seeing. It's intended to evoke emotions and evoke reactions out of people without providing the correct context. I'm so tired of this mentality that people can just create and depict scenarios and people don't apply any critical thinking. They don't apply any, like I said, introspective thinking. Things are never what they seem. Things are never how they look. So for me personally, I am not going to be in a position where I'm judging this young man. I'm not going to be in a position where I speak on his experience because, like I stated previously, there are so many reasons and situations that we don't even know, you know? So I hate that we live in a society where people are so entitled to have an opinion about your life when they don't know anything about it. And instead of actually being biblical in the sense of, or let alone being biblical, but being a good person or trying to be a person who's after God's heart, God will always teach us not to judge and not to condemn, you know? So why are we so quick to condemn and judge and point fingers at another and be holier than thou and want to sit on our righteous throne and want to be hemming and hawing, thinking, oh, I would never. No, that's fake. And that's not honest, and that's judgmental. And all of these people that are talking about, that want to include God in their biases, God made a full and complete scripture. Not just because people want to take parts and pieces of the scripture that they want because of it aligns with their rhetoric and their thinking. But God is not an unjust God. He's a God of justice and fairness. Hence, he included in that very same scripture that honor your mother and father, but also do not provoke your children to wrath. Why are people conveniently forgetting that part of the scripture? So I hate that his life is being dissected by people who have their own skeletons in their own closets, and instead of dealing with them, they want to focus outward. I'm tired of judgmental people. I'm tired of ignorant people. I'm tired of people who can't think for themselves or want to personalize things that have nothing to do with them. We need to stop doing that. Okay, so that's my 2 cents.